Preseason week 3 is upon us, the finales of the exhibition season for 2022. Tuning up for the regular season. Who impressed us on Thursday Night Football? Packers, Chiefs, 49ers, Texans, and a note for every game coming up this weekend in preseason week 3, right now on Peacock and Williamson.
NFL analyst Brian Peacock and former NFL scout Matt Williamson bring you expert NFL analysis every day in less than 30 minutes. Get an inside look into the NFL on the field and in the front office. With elite breakdowns, next-level analysis, and in-depth information only for the real NFL fans. This is Peacock and Williamson, and it starts now.
Welcome to the Peacock and Williamson NFL show. Brian Peacock and Matt Williamson with you at BB Peacock at Williamson NFL. Thanks for making us your first listen here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We've got to go fast here. It's preseason week number 3, and looking at Thursday night games, not a lot of starters playing, not a super interesting game with the Green Bay Packers and the Kansas City Chiefs, but I think there is one player that we haven't really mentioned much on the show that's having a really nice camp for the Green Bay Packers. And look, he's running back 3 maybe at most coming into the season, but rookie Tyler Goodson is quick. He had a touchdown in this one. He had a 24-yarder, and he's been the talk of camp. It's been a really good rookie class, not even from the guys drafted way at the top. 4th rounder Zach Tom looks like he's going to start potentially, and Tyler Goodson's been really nice find for the Green Bay Packers as well. So really good draft class, I think, for Green Bay, especially those 2 rookie wide receivers. We'll see how quickly they get in to good graces with their quarterback Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and I like the Green Bay class. They got a lot of heat for, you didn't use one of your first-round picks on a receiver. Well, they got 2 guys, I think, that can help. Yeah. I really like what they've done on defense. That defense is just loaded with first-round picks. Interesting stuff there. I didn't watch that game. I'm kind of box score scouting Packers, Chiefs. I did watch the first half of the other one. I'm sure you did as well. But the big thing I wanted to watch from the Chiefs is, what's the situation at running back? I mean, CEH's role seems pretty firm. Isaiah Pacheco is the hottest name in the fantasy world all of a sudden. But Ronald Jones got a good run as well. And there's been talk that he might get cut. McKinnon's going to be in the mix. I still think if I were the Chiefs, I would kick the tires on a trade for a running back. But interesting how that all shapes up. I mean, the thing about Jones, he just offers nothing in the passing game.
I saw a stat that Isaiah Pacheco is older than Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Wow.
I'm actually looking at it.
I might believe that.
I just remember seeing it, and I want to double check if that's the truth.
I mean, this incoming rookie class is so bizarre that way.
They're essentially the exact same age. So that is
okay.
Pretty, yeah.
Wow. Like your boy Trey Lance, I think they said last night, is the 2nd youngest starting quarterback in the league, and this is his 3rd season in the league? Second
season in the league. Yeah. I thought he was younger than all of the quarterbacks. He was the youngest player in the draft last year, and I thought he was still younger than all the quarterbacks this year too. But
I'm pretty sure that's true. The more I think about it, yeah.
I'm not sure who would even be younger than Trey Lance at this point.
Right. I mean, Kenny Pickett's 24. He's the oldest of that group.
Jordan Love. This is year 3. It's like, okay, look, he should be a starting quarterback for somebody. Do you get that vibe from him?
No. I don't feel like they get that vibe from him. I mean, I don't look into this stuff too much, but it seems like by now, shouldn't he be dominating preseason games? And I don't get that feel from him at all.
Yeah, with as much as he played, he should be putting up big-time stats. He's had guys like, a rookie darling in Romeo Doubs out there to throw to. It's been a pretty good situation for him to thrive in that offense. Yeah,
I almost don't care who he's playing with at this point. You're a first-round pick from 3 years in. You should look great out there.
He's long-term backup quarterback situation. He's the next Brett Hundley. It's feeling like.
Yeah. Right? I mean, we're almost getting to the point now where they got to pick up his 4th year or 5th year option soon. I assume they won't.
Oh, no chance. No way.
Yeah, right. So what's he get on the open market? That's a story for another day, but I think that's interesting.
Yeah. 49ers Texans. This one was fun in the way that a lot of starters played on both sides of the ball. But man, even for the starters being out there, this was a bit of a snoozer, especially for the 49ers. And I don't think you come away with this game feeling good about the 49ers offensive line. Trent Williams wasn't out there, but none of the quarterbacks had a lot of time to throw. They weren't creating any running lanes, so we didn't really get any good information with the 49ers running back situation, except that Jordan Mason, the undrafted rookie, got in the game before 3rd-round rookie Tyrion Davis-Price. And I think that's not so much that this is the depth chart now. It was just that they want to see him earlier in the game to see what that looks like, so he's not playing against scrubs, because he's looked really good at the end of the game. But to be honest with you, and I follow the 49ers as close as anybody, watch this whole game wire to wire, it didn't change anything for me. It was not great up front. On the other side, though, I liked the way the Texans came to play, and I thought Dameon Pierce looked the part. 6 carries, 37 yards, 6.2 yards per carry. He's the guy. He's the number one back there. Yeah. I think that's really the one takeaway I had from this entire game, sadly, is that Dameon Pierce good. Everything else, I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, I watched the first half pretty closely, and I think that's definitely the takeaway. Fantasy or not, he's a dude. They're finally getting some guys that they can build around. I love the way he runs. I was extremely high on him coming out of school. I own him in Dynasty Leagues galore. Very happy about it. I also think their O-line deserves a little credit, and their dedication to the running game is starting to show up. Houston looks like a real football team now. I mean, it's been a couple of years since we could say that. And you're right. Your Niners O-line was really patched together, but it was overwhelmed. And I guess my one question to you, and it's not a big concern, nor does it shock me, but I thought Lance's pocket presence was a little so-so. You know, he holds the ball a little long. I remember one play where Ayuk is flying right across the middle of the field, and he throws a go ball down the right sideline that he was predetermined. You know, like, there's some finer points to the position I still think he needs obvious work on.
It did look like he passed up some easier throws. That was the 3rd and 2 play, and George Kittle's running a short out, and then he goes deep to Debo. Debo didn't really have much separation. It was an incomplete pass, and it looked like he went straight to the deep ball. So his eyes are aggressive. He does like to look downfield, so that's going to be very different for the 49ers this year. But it's also a reminder, really young guy, didn't play much in his life, and a lot of talent. There's going to be some ups and downs, I think, with the 49ers. And if the offensive line's bad in front of them, then it's going to make it even more difficult for the young player.
Sure. I just think he's going to need to speeding his timing and processing up a little bit.
Looking ahead to Friday football games, we've got the Buffalo Bills at the Carolina Panthers. What are you looking for in this one, Matt?
I don't mean to half-ass this podcast, but I've always been very honest with you folks. Ever since I started this when it was Locked On NFL 100 years ago, I'm not looking forward to much preseason at this point, to be honest with you. I mean, I've kind of been preseasoned out. I feel like the regular season is just banging on the door, and it's a lot longer away than we know. And I don't know how many teams are going to take this week particularly seriously. I'm still going to do my work, and I know there are some teams that will. But I can't see Buffalo playing anybody after they just demolished Denver last week. I mean, my priority would just be rest. Carolina, I mean, I guess you could look at, you know, some of their younger dudes. Ekwonu, I've watched quite a bit in this preseason. He's been up and down, but his traits are staggering. So, I mean, you know, he has some growing pains, though, too.
That's a big one for me. The Panthers have a lot more to look forward to try to develop in this game. With the Bills, it's like, don't get hurt. And with the Panthers, okay, let's see, you know, a little bit of Baker, maybe. Let's, you know, salvage a little showcase for Sam Darnold, maybe for the other 31 teams in the NFL if someone needs a backup quarterback. Although at this point, with the depth chart and the injuries there, maybe they need to keep him anyway. But yeah, more for the Panthers to work on. The Bills just don't get hurt. How about this one?
Right.
Round 3, Matt. Seahawks at Cowboys, but the round 3 is the in-house quarterback battle. They've got 2 quarterback ones, according to Pete Carroll. It is Geno Smith versus Drew Lock. Who's going to win this one?
It doesn't seem like it's over yet. I mean, I got to think it's Geno, but they sure do. I believe that their discussion about Lock is not manufactured. I think they do like him more than we do, or than anybody does. And there's ability there. I mean, I could see Pete Carroll, you know, embracing what Locke brings to the table and trying to build something around him. But I mean, I think it will be Geno.
It's been Geno. So what could Drew Lock possibly do to finally overtake him is the way I look at it, which is probably not going to be anything. So, yeah.
If it's still a question at this point, this kind of goes for Pickett versus Trubisky too, because that's the only one I can come up with that probably is already settled.
I mean, let's be honest, though. They're clearly fighting for the number 2 and number 3 quarterback jobs for behind Jimmy Garoppolo when he signs with them after he gets cut next year.
I mean, I think there's a good chance for that. Yeah.
It'd be a great storyline for the season if
It would.
the hated Seahawks all of a sudden had the 49ers ex-quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo. Dallas Cowboys, Jalen Tolbert. Can he be a starting rookie wide receiver? And this is another one of those don't get hurt teams. They've already had massive injuries, which might even impact it more. And they say, you know what? Let's not even test anybody.
That's what I was thinking too. It's like you would think Tolbert doesn't get a pass, but considering where they're at with that receiver core, and I think he's already proven that he belongs, I would play him very, very little.
More games to cover here. There is some notes and some interesting players still out there, some camp battles, some teams playing ones, some teams not in this preseason tune-up for 2022. But level with me, folks. We've all been in a situation at some point in our lives when we're a little tight on cash. Maybe you could only afford to put a few gallons of gas in your tank and you got another save the date and are wondering how you're going to afford a gift for that wedding or you need some bills to pay. Well, that's where Dave can help. Dave is a banking app that can help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. That's more money to fill your tank, buy a wedding gift, catch up on those bills, tackle those expenses that have been stressing you out without any hangups. You need to buy some gear for your side hustle to make you future cash. There's no interest and no credit check needed. Millions of people have already downloaded the Dave app to get financial relief they need with extra cash. So if you're in a pinch, need some extra help, download Dave and think of it as a helping hand from future you. And if you're buying something for future you to make future you better, then future you will be really happy about the help the future you gave you. Download the Dave app from the App Store right now. That's Dave, D-A-V-E. Sign up for an extra cash account and get up to $500 instantly. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Transfer fees do apply. Banking provided by Evolve, member FDIC. Thanks again, everybody, for making Peacock and Williamson your first listen every day. Make sure you are checking out the Ultimate Pro Football Preview starting next week, August 31st, an 8-episode extravaganza to get you ready for the NFL season. The local team experts on the Locked On Podcast Network and Odyssey NFL Insiders all combining into one Ultimate NFL Preview starting August 31st. Search for Ultimate Pro Football Preview 2022 on your Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Taking a peek at the rest of the Friday schedule here, Matt. We've got the Chargers at the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints have more minor roster movement that they need to tune up for this season for the Chargers. It's like, let's get into this season and let's let our stars be stars and maybe work on run fits a little bit in this one. But, aside from that, the Chargers are primed for a big season. Let's get into it healthy.
Yeah, I think both teams are leaning that direction at this point too. The Saints don't have a lot of draft picks. They go all in and only have a few guys. I think Penning still needs some refinement. I don't think Zion Johnson does. Coincidentally, they both took offensive linemen early. I'm reaching here again, guys. I'm sorry, but
Penning, Penning is a big one.
Penning's a big one. Yeah,
he's a blindside pass protector and hasn't looked like he's ready for prime time yet. And you've seen some signs, but get Trevor Penning ready because you spent so much to go up and get Olave and Penning. They've got to be really good players for you, or it sets you back if you're the Saints.
It sounds like he's beating people up less at camp and starting to settle in of how this league really works. If I'm reaching for somebody with the Chargers, and I don't even know if he'll play a lot, I would look at a guy like Palmer, the receiver, and say, go be dominant against backups. You're our 3. You can still use some work. Maybe he makes a big play or two.
How about the Patriots and the Raiders Friday night? Are you going to be? To be honest with you, I'm going to be watching this game to see who's calling the plays and see how the offense looks. Because I'm so down on the Patriots. Deal. Yeah, and if this is sort of and look, even if you're resting guys, I think there's a operational tune-up that needs to happen because the next game the Patriots play, someone's an offensive coordinator, so figure it out, right?
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure Bill will get it right. It might take a little while. I think you want to play the Patriots early in the season. I guess I'd like to see Isaiah Wynn, who's been on the trade block. Is he going to be the starting right tackle, or is he just going to be as a rotation, keep him healthy? Do they have a trade brewing? Raiders, I think Zamir White's a guy to watch too. I mean, with Kenny Drake out of the mix, I'm not so certain that White won't outrush Jacobs this year.
People are talking about the year 8 breakout for Amir Abdullah too with this Raiders offense. For some reason, Amir Abdullah has been a star in training camp. Another name I'll throw out there for you is the 3rd-round rookie center guard Dylan Parham.
Yeah, it's a good one. They need him. Yep. Leatherwood, though, and we just talked about Wynn. Leatherwood's supposedly on the block too. I mean, are they going to play him and is he going to look terrible, or could they move him? Some of these O-linemen, you throw Tevin Jenkins in that mix too, and Dillard from Philly. There's some first-round offensive linemen that could possibly move here in the next couple of days.
But Derek Carr to Devontae Adams, they've been working on that for a long time since the Fresno State days. I don't think they need to do much in this one.
Yeah.
Saturday, we've got the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Atlanta Falcons. I think this is a fun game because I think there's plenty for these teams to work on, and you're Super Bowl hopeful, but you're not a Super Bowl favorite by any means. So if you're these teams, just be as good as possible and develop as much as you can getting ready for the regular season. Yeah,
100%. Ritter stands out to me. I mean, the more I keep hearing from the guys close to the team, beat writers, a lot of people think Ritter might play early this year, that he's been impressive enough that maybe he's even the better quarterback of the two. We'll see. I'm open to that possibility.
I did like some throws last week from Mariota, too, so I think he's done enough maybe to hold Ritter off, but all reports have been great from Ritter. I love some of the throws I've seen from Ritter, and those two guys are so similar.
They
are. Because, height, weight, athleticism, the way the ball comes out, it's almost hard to separate them, too. If they were really different, like if Ritter was like this young athletic guy with the big upside and it was a boring old veteran that couldn't move around at all, then maybe they would look different. And you think, okay, we got to go with the young guy because he gives us more. It's more dynamic in an offense where we need the quarterback to create. But they're so similar that I don't think you have that advantage if you're Ritter necessarily over someone like Mariota.
Yeah, I do think they're very similar athletically. Yes, they're a good athlete for the position, but they're a little robotic too. They're not a Willis-like athlete, and they're a little bit stiffer than that. I think Tyler Allgeier's another one, just kind of watching Falcons training camp reports that maybe by midseason, Allgeier's the lead back there.
I know he's only a second-year player, but please don't get Kyle Pitts hurt. So if anybody sits, it should be Kyle Pitts.
100%. AJ Terrell, Kyle Pitts, you're like our only good guys. Don't see the field.
I don't know if the starters are going to play much for the Jacksonville Jaguars, but reports are good and obviously we've already seen some development, and I have no doubts that Trevor Lawrence is going to be a pretty good player in this league. I think he's going to see a huge leap in year 2, but building a rapport with Christian Kirk, I think, much has been made and making fun of how much money they had to overpay Christian Kirk to get him to go to Jacksonville. But I think for fantasy purposes, he might be a sneaky, nice player.
I have him ranked pretty high. I mean, he's clearly their best receiver and their number one, and they gave him money. I mean, that's really all we need to know in the fantasy world.
By the way, running back James Robinson getting close, and so he might be ready to go at some point early in the season, which might might dampen those expectations that a lot of folks have, especially in the fantasy community, about Travis Etienne breaking out this year after missing his rookie year due to a torn ACL.
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, he's an easy guy to root for, but I wonder if he'll be the same. I mean, the history of those guys coming off bad ACLs usually isn't good the first year.
Rams and Bengals, kind of want to skip over this one. Joe Burrow's not going to play. The Rams don't play anybody. So
I got one deep dive here.
Okay.
The guard spot between who was the pick last year out of Clemson? I forget his Jake Carman and the Jackson. Rookie this year. Yeah, Jackson Carman. I'm sorry. And the rookie this year, Cordell Volson, who's gotten a lot of talk as well. So 4 of the spots are clear up front. I think there's still a competition at guard between 2 young pups.
We'll see if the listeners out there tune in to Rams
guard
Bengals
competition.
Guard. Love it. Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears are at the Cleveland Browns, who will not be quarterbacked by Deshaun Watson for 11 weeks. It's going to be Jacoby Brissett. And I think the Browns, if anybody, need a little bit of a tune-up here to get ready. And they know who their quarterback is, and they need to win some games and be in a spot where, Deshaun Watson could potentially come in and save the season late.
Yeah, and Ethan Polchak's going to be the center. I mean, I'm stressing interior O-line here, so I should probably just kind of get off it. And maybe you want to develop a little bit of continuity with the line, especially with the starting center. Again, I'm kind of reaching. I think the Browns just want to get to the home street, get to the starting line here healthy. The Bears could probably work on everything. I mean, if they're smart, I would play all my guys.
Velus Jones, the rookie 3rd-round wide receiver for the Bears has kind of worked his way up the depth chart a little bit. There's been some injuries in front of him as well, Byron Pringle, and who knows, he might even start week 1. So, a little bit more work there, maybe a couple series from Justin Fields I'd like to see, just to see a little bit more, get some continuity with this new offensive line, and at least be a team that is ready to compete early in the season, because I don't know how many wins are going to be there for the Bears this year.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough year, but maybe they'll feature Tevin Jenkins a little bit. It'll look a little better. I mean, again, I'm kind of reaching here.
We've got the Cardinals at the Tennessee Titans. It's all about the backup running backs for me, because I own Derrick Henry, who you traded to me in our Locked On Dynasty league, our football league. I've got Derrick Henry, so I'm trying hard to figure out who the handcuff is going to be. And at the end, I might just carry 4 different Titans running backs just to make sure if Derrick Henry gets hurt, I still have a starting running back.
I think the Cardinals' backup running backs are interesting too. I mean, they're going to keep Connor on ice, of course.
Yeah.
Eno Benjamin's gotten a lot of run and good attention here. I like the rookie they drafted out of USC too, Ingram. I think he's more of a hammer to Benjamin's lightning. Those things are interesting. Maybe the Cardinals would try to feature their last 2 first-round picks, the 2 linebackers, because they really don't have defined roles. Maybe you want to get them a little more, playing time, or McBride, the tight end. But overall, I'm not expecting a whole lot. I like your Titans call, though, of the other Titan I wanted to bring up is a slot receiver, the rookie, Phillips. People are raving about this guy.
Yeah, he's the next Hunter.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Right. And he might be. They could sure use that.
There's one every year. And I think
There's
we know
one
who it is
every
this
year.
year. It's Kyle Phillips of the Tennessee Titans.
I think you might be right.
All right, handful more games on the Week 3 preseason schedule next. But first, I want to let the folks out there know about BetOnline.net, the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your betting needs. Find all your favorite sports and events at the #1 online source for odds, lines, and games. How about these NFL lines? The odds for #1 seed in the AFC and the NFC. Matt, guess who the #1 team in the AFC is, according to BetOnline, to get that berth into the Super Bowl?
I'm saying Buffalo.
It is the Buffalo Bills. They're 3-1 favorites. They have 3-1 odds for being, which is still not terrible for being the AFC 1 seed. And next, it's the Baltimore Ravens and Kansas City Chiefs tied. So
Chiefs have a really tough schedule.
In the NFC, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 1, the Green Bay Packers 2, and the Dallas Cowboys 3. But if you think
I wouldn't pick on any of them.
if you think your team's getting slept on, you can find them down there.
Yeah.
Maybe some 100-1 Houston Texans or Jacksonville Jaguars. How about a 100-1 Detroit Lions? You can find those odds at BetOnline, which continues to be your top resource for all sports wagering and information, not just NFL, but Major League Baseball, NHL, combat sports, esports, even golf, live in-game betting. So head to BetOnline today to use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action at BetOnline, where the game starts. We're looking at the Philadelphia Eagles at the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins.
I might put a buck on the Eagles to be the NFC #1 seed. I mean,
that's not bad.
If those other 3 are getting that kind of juice, you may get a good payoff on that one.
12-1 odds for the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got a lot, and if the developmental curve continues on the same path that we've seen from Jalen Hurts, it could be something there. And he's got weapons around him, the offensive line, defensive line.
Yep.
So the Philadelphia Eagles could be a fun team this year. Absolutely. They might not be super fun in the Week 3 of the preseason.
No, probably not.
We'll see who plays for them. The Miami Dolphins, I think, a little bit more interesting. Let's see what that running back group looks like. Tua, does he get a little tune-up here before the regular season starts? New coach, new systems. I think it's important that they get on the same page before the season starts.
2 kind of high-profile names from this game that are on the hot seat or not quite fitting in, could be on the move. Jalen Reagor and Mike Gesicki. I don't know if Miami will play Gesicki, but I think there's a chance they move him before the start of the season. He doesn't fit at all. And the Eagles, all of a sudden, Rager's like 5th on the depth chart. Is there a team out there that liked him coming out of school and says, I'll take a chance on that guy?
It's almost too late for Reagor, right?
Right.
They need to get off from him from after year 1 or 2, like they did with Arcega-Whiteside, although Arcega-Whiteside was a year earlier. And then they tried like the tight end thing with Arcega-Whiteside. But man, you can see why they wanted to spend the money and the draft picks to go get AJ Brown. It's like, let's make sure we get the wide receiver right this time. We spent these draft picks, and Devontae Smith looks really good, but now they've got it set. Yeah. They can move forward and not worry about that position anymore. The Washington Commanders at the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens, and it's the Tyler Huntley show for all these preseason games with the Baltimore.
It's kind of fun,
yeah, and he's a nice player there, and Isaiah Likely as well. Can he keep this going? Is Isaiah Likely? I think Travis Jones got hurt in the last game, so
he did. Yeah,
man, you look at this Ravens draft class, and not only did they have multiple first-round picks, and I think those guys are going to be okay, but their first pick in Kyle Hamilton is like my least favorite pick of their group because they got guys like Travis Jones later and Isaiah Likely at tight end, and Ajabo is going to be something for him probably next year. We can look back and be like, oh my God, look at this draft class from 2022 for the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, and we didn't even talk about like Linderbaum. He's been hurt. I doubt he'll play in this one, but be ready for the opener. No, they got a lot of guys and a lot of early picks and fourth round picks. Likely's been the story. I think both running back crews are worth watching here too, because Antonio Gibson is dropping like a stone. I think Robinson is the number one there. Like, it wouldn't shock me if Gibson starts this game, and by that I mean as a backup, and Robinson doesn't touch the ball to keep him clean. I think the Baltimore running back thing is a little hairier than we might remember because Dobbins has done like nothing. Gus Edwards is on PUP. It might be the Mike Davis show in week 1.
You see the blitz pick up from Mike Davis? I think it was
last
week, preseason week number 2. I mean, he just annihilated somebody. And that's what you're going to get from Mike Davis. He's going to do the little things and the dirty things that he needs to.
Big, strong, thick guy. He's good at that.
Yeah. Moving along to the Buccaneers at the Indianapolis Colts. Tom Brady will not sniff the football field, so it's going to be a whole bunch more of Kyle Trask. I can't imagine that Matt Ryan plays much in this game either.
I don't know what to look for in this one.
I can tell you what to look for. One of my draft favorites that's looking better and better every single week and has had an awesome camp is Nick Cross, safety for the Colts. He might be already so entrenched as a starter that they don't want to get him hurt and they don't play him in this game. But another one is Alec Pierce. I mean, those were high level at Bernard Raymond too. I mean,
I was saying, I'm taking a step further with Raymond too.
Yeah, that Colts draft class was such high end, somewhat raw athletes that need some time, but if they hit on those guys, and we're seeing it already with Nick Cross, he's been the talk of Colts camp, so I can't wait for that one.
No, that's good one there. I think Tampa is like the Rams and plays 0 people of consequence. Maybe Rashad White gets some.
There you go. Here and some love. Yeah. Rashad White is the heir apparent there at running back. If there's an injury to Leonard Fournette, could he be a league winner for you, even potentially in your fantasy leagues?
Possibly. I mean, this would be a good opportunity for him.
And the final game on Sunday is where are we at here? The final game on Saturday, is the Vikings at Broncos. Minnesota Vikings at the Denver Broncos, and we have not seen a lot of Russell Wilson in the first unit in the in the preseason. So I'm feeling like they've got to have some sort of a tune-up here to get ready for the year, or they're just like, you know what, I don't care. I think we can go into the season with what we have and not have to worry about it because we got a superstar quarterback.
I think the answer is they don't care. We have a superstar quarterback. Just stay healthy. I mean, I feel like that's the approach they're taking. Maybe Kellen Mond can save a little face in this game. I mean, his stock has fallen like a stone too. Again, I'm having a tough one with this crew. I think both these teams are pretty set with what they're doing. Both new head coaches, so that's kind of hard to know their track record. But I think they're pretty happy with where both their teams are at.
It was funny because Nathaniel Hackett, the Broncos, it was like, I'm not sure how much we're going to play Russell Wilson. He might play a little bit in preseason week 2. He might even play a half. And I saw all these different reports, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, yeah, you know what? He's probably not even going to play the entire preseason.
Right. He doesn't want to, I bet.
Maybe that's what it was. He's like, hey, coach, I heard your press conference. Can we not do that?
Let's not do that. Yeah.
New York Giants Sunday at the New York Jets. We've got New York at New York. They've had joint practices all week too, so they might be a little tired of each other at this point.
I've noticed a trend that joint practices usually means don't playing guys on the game.
Yes, absolutely.
Because you get better situations in the joint practice. Hey, we want to work on red zone, 2-minute, whatever. You don't know if you'll get that in the game. So I think you use up a lot of those reps during the week. Mm-hmm. But both these teams certainly have guys that could use some more work. The name that pops up to me is Denzel Mims. I mean, talk about guys on the trade block. He's on the trade block, I think, since he got drafted, and it doesn't seem like anybody wants to trade for him.
Well, actually, according to Mims and his agent this week, that they had been unwilling to trade him previously, and they had been unwilling to release him, and he's been wanted to be out of there for a while now, and he's officially, like, publicly now asked to be traded. And I think at some point he's just going to cut and not traded instead.
Probably
it's going to end up happening after this game, but he'll probably be out there. He'll get showcased for a team that might want some, some length and some speed at wide receiver. Robert Saleh did say he's undecided, so he might, depending on what he saw at practice this week, he might put his starters out there a little bit.
Yeah, okay, I'll buy that. I wouldn't play Flacco, though. Last note on Mims, and he's kind of been out of sight, out of mind. I mean, as soon as the Shanahan-type staff took over, you just saw a round peg in a square hole. But if I'm the Bears or Atlanta, I'd bring in Denzel Mims.
Oh, no doubt. There's a lot of teams that utilized him. And it's one of those things like Rager. It's like a little too late. The teams don't move on quick enough to get anything back. And then the player toils around in obscurity for so long that he's kind of, ruined and has more ground to make up for once it gets to another team anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Lions and Steelers is the final game on the week 3 preseason slate. How much of the starters are we going to see? Are we going to see some Pickett to Pickens in this game, Matt?
I think, going through all those games, it doesn't sound like many are going to play. Maybe I'm missing the boat and some will. But there's been a report around here that Campbell and Tomlin had a conversation, which I don't know if that's regular or not. And they both decided we're going to play our dudes, and the Lions aren't going to play Goff. But I doubt the Steelers play Watt or Hayward, but I think they're going to play Trubisky for a bit and then hand it to Pickett and play their young guys. And maybe even Najee Harris wraps it up for a series. I know the Steelers O-line needs an awful lot of work. I know the Lions O-line doesn't, but it sounds like Campbell likes to play his guys, which is certainly their approach to the game.
No Jared Goff, but I think the rest of the starters, it sounds like, are going to play for the Lions, at least for a little bit. And you know who I want to see? I mean, so much is being made of Pickett and George Pickens, the first and second round quarterback and wide receiver duo. But what about Calvin Austin? I know he got dinged up a little bit.
I don't think he'll play. I'm not sure if he's back at practice or not, but you'd like watching him. He is a road runner.
His first 20 yards is as fast as anybody I've ever seen. He is shot out of a cannon. It's amazing.
I mean, I've stood next to him. He's a little smaller than you think. I mean, he's like 5'7", 5070. I mean, he is short. He's not 5'7.5". But boy, I mean, you watch practice and anyone that stands will be like, who is that guy? He's faster than everybody else. And like you said, it's shot out of a can.
He's 5073, man.
Is he? Okay.
5073. I just looked that up yesterday for some odd reason. I don't know why. But yeah, 5073, 5'7" and 3/8 for those of you.
Well, I'm 6027, so I tower over him.
Yeah. So he looks like he's probably much smaller than your son at this point, right?
Oh yeah. My son's taller than I am now, and he's not yet 16. My favorite thing about this game is in the preseason, I host the Steeler post-game shows on the radio, which are all call-ins, and of course they're all Kenny Pickett should start. He's from Pitt, and a lot of them are drunk. So I'm thrilled that this is a 4:30 start. Usually it's an 8 o'clock start. I get out of the studio or stadium at like 2 a.m. We go 2 hours after Tomlin's press conference. I'll be home by like 8. That's awesome.
That's fantastic.
That's the best part.
Well, have a great weekend, Matt. Enjoy those games and enjoy the Steelers and Lions on Sunday. Hope you get to bed at a really nice time. And for the rest of the listeners out there, we will be back with you Monday, breaking down all the standouts from preseason week 3. What did we learn? We might see some cuts and trades trickling through as well on the transaction wire. Talk to you then, right here, Peacock and Williamson.